What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be talking about the injury bug that has bitten the Winnipeg Jets very early on. We're not even at game 1 yet, and in the preseason it really seems like this has been one of the most cursed preseasons in recent memory. I can't remember a time where the Jets have been this injured since the time that Carson Kuhlman, remember that guy, was playing in the top 6. But now we take a look at this year's Winnipeg Jets, and Dylan Samberg suffered an injury in the preseason. A hit from Ryan Lomberg. Wasn't really the hit that got him, it was where he got hit, where the bench and the glass meet there. It looks like his arm got caught there. It ends up being a broken wrist. 6 to 8 weeks Dylan Samberg will miss. That's not ideal. Jets have a fairly heavy schedule early on as well, so roughly 2 months without Dylan Samberg. Not good news. We'll talk about that more in just a second. Obviously, Adam Lowry had hip surgery in the offseason. He's going to be out at least a month, right? I know he's aiming, early November. We'll see if he's able to come back around that time. I hope so. Lowry, obviously a big part of last year's team, was very good. Is he going to be able to bounce back? A guy that's inching towards his mid-30s, is he going to be able to bounce back right away? That remains to be seen. He looks pretty good on the ice right now. We'll see how he looks in game action when he does come back, but something to monitor there as well. And then we had a lot of scares, the highlight being Connor Hellebuck. He left practice. He just casually had a rib out of place. Just popped that back in. No big deal. He was back at the rink in under an hour, it seems, so that's bizarre. Thank God he's good, because without Hellebuck, we might be in a world of hurt. Again, we'll talk about that in a second. Vlad Nemesnikov took kind of a dirty hit from Trennan in the Minnesota game, and, is what it is. I have some opinions about Yakov Trennan, but, he got pulled from the game from the concussion spotter. He ends up being all right. He was at practice, before the Jets' final preseason game. Looks like he's going to be all right. In that same game, Toews did not finish the second period and did not return for the third either. We had to wait a day and a bit, but Arneal reveals that Toews is day-to-day, just tweaked something. Doesn't seem like it's going to be anything too major. With the first game of the year coming just around the corner, you do wonder if he's going to be ready for the season opener. I assume he will be, but for the time being, it does appear that Vlad Nemesnikov is going to be the number 2 center. And, with that, let's just show the lines that we're looking at, shall we? These are the lineups, the practice before the Jets' last preseason game of this season. So this is more or less what the team's going to be looking like on night 1 of the year. Maybe a couple tweaks, not sure. But the first line goes as Connor, Scheifele, Velarde. Second line without Toews goes Nyquist, Nemesnikov, and Perfetti. So it appears that Nemesnikov will retake that 2C role at least for the time being if Toews is not ready to go. Barron gets bumped up between Niederreiter and Iafallo. That's where Nemesnikov was prior. And then Pearson, Ford, and Kopecky. A little bit surprised about Ford. I would rather Gustafsson or Brad Lambert get in here somehow, some way. But, I'm assuming they think Toews is going to be back. So just bump all those guys down. Ford probably becomes, maybe down to the Moose, maybe the 13th forward spot, right? Gonna be interesting which one of those guys, Gus, Dewar, and Ford, sticks around to be the 13th man here as the Jets start to cut their roster even more. I don't think Lambert and Chibrikov are going to see night 1. I'd be very surprised. If we go to the defense, though, Josh Morrissey and Dylan DeMello, number 1 pair, and that is really the only pair that I like here. Stanley and Pionk, we've seen in preseason. It's a nightmare. Go back and watch that second Wild game. Not a good showing whatsoever. And then Fleury and Schenn. I'm just not a big fan of Luke Schenn. This is not a surprise. I don't think he brings anything, outside of physicality. He's extremely slow, and, we saw it. He got scratched for, more than half the playoffs. Is what it is. Hayden Fleury, I don't mind him. I think it's a fine partner for Schenn. I don't think it's an ideal pair whatsoever. But, maybe Colin Miller can go in and out of the lineup here. I'd like to see more of him. Billy Heinola, we'll see if he gets any games. He's looked good in the preseason, but, I just don't think he's really that guy. I don't think he moves the needle too much. I know a lot of people are going to take a look at the defense and be like, how could Scott Arneal put Logan Stanley on that second pair with Neil Pionk? And, I just look at it, I don't really see a way that's much better. I mean, you could maybe put Fleury with Pionk, but that pair struggled last season. That pair didn't really work too well together. And then have like Miller and Stanley together, possibly take Shen out as the 7. Maybe we'll see that at some point. Maybe the Jets will kind of just interchange some defensemen here, see what works, see what doesn't early on in the season. But there's really no good way to do the bottom 2 pairings without Dylan Samberg, and that's why he's one of those guys on this team that just can't get hurt, because if Samberg gets hurt, then Pionk is kind of left, on his own, right? And I don't think he's really a guy that can be defensively responsible, especially when he's playing with a guy like, Logan Stanley, right? Samberg is such a good defenseman because not only is he so elite at being a shutdown monster, he also makes his partner, Neil Pionk, much better and allows Pionk to do what he does best in the offensive zone, right? So, we'll see what happens, but it might be a rough couple of months. I'm excited to see, or interested to see, I think would be the better word, where the Jets sit, by December, when we're gonna, hopefully get Samberg back. Hopefully it's closer to 6 weeks than 8, because, this is not an ideal group, to say the least. But now I see a lot of people saying that, oh, well, Elias Salamonson would be a great player to have in the lineup with Dylan Samberg injured. And while I completely agree with all of you, I'm a big Elias Salamonson fan. AHL All-Star last year, great preseason and camp this year, probably ready for NHL minutes. This is just not something that the Winnipeg Jets do. They do not play their young guys over the vets, really in any circumstances whatsoever, as you can see with the lineup that they're rocking with now. Look at the forward core, right? Lambert, Chibrikov not starting on night 1. Maybe we see them at some point mid-season. But on defense, Salamonson is a right-hand shot. He's pretty much, stylistically right-hand shot Dylan Samberg, same kind of thing, but Samberg is a left-hand shot D. So Salamonson would have to play over Luke Shen, he would have to play over Colin Miller, and those are just 2 players that the Jets are not going to be sitting for Elias Salamonson, really no matter how well he plays, unless there is, a mass amount more of injuries. I just do not see it happening. And so Elias Salamonson, he's going to start with the Moose. That's okay. But in a perfect world, I would love to see him on that bottom pairing for the Jets. I think he would be an awesome addition to this team right now and going forward. I think he's going to be a name that a lot of people know in a very short time here. But the Jets have a very heavy schedule going on, in the next couple months here. They do have quite a few important players out of the lineup. How will they be able to weather the storm? Will their injuries continue to pile up? I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about the first couple months of the season? Are you worried with this lineup? I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm a little bit, eyebrow raised. The forward core, I think they can get by with. It's not perfect by any means. I don't love it. But on D is where it really scares me, especially after that, wild preseason game there where Stanley and Pionk were just getting shredded. And I understand this is preseason, but, it's not the first time we've seen these guys together. It's not a good pairing. Fleury and Shen, we'll see. But I just don't feel very good about those bottom pairs. But I want to hear from you guys. Let's see what happens here going forward. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Go Jets, go. Bye-bye.